Once upon a time, in a kingdom far away, there was a beautiful princess named Snow White. Her beauty was renowned throughout the land, but her heart was as kind as her face was lovely. Her stepmother, the queen, was jealous of Snow White's beauty and plotted to keep her away from the kingdom's throne. One day, while the queen consulted her magic mirror, it declared that Snow White was the fairest of them all. Enraged, the queen ordered her huntsman to take Snow White deep into the forest and leave her there, never to return. The huntsman, though reluctant, obeyed, leading Snow White into the heart of the forest where she ran away, frightened and alone. In her flight, Snow White stumbled upon a quaint cottage hidden among the trees. Exhausted, she entered and fell asleep on one of the 7 tiny beds she found inside. The cottage belonged to 7 dwarfs who worked in the nearby mines. When the dwarfs returned home and discovered Snow White, they were initially startled but soon warmed to her kind nature. Snow White lived happily with the dwarfs, helping with their chores and bringing joy to their lives. Each dwarf had a unique talent. Grumpy was skilled in crafting, Doc was a healer, Sleepy had a gift for storytelling, Bashful was an expert in gardening. Sneezy made delightful potions, Dopey was an artist, and Happy had a talent for music. Meanwhile, the queen, discovering that Snow White was still alive, devised a new plan. She disguised herself as a peddler and tricked Snow White into eating a poisoned apple. As soon as Snow White took a bite, she fell into a deep, magical sleep. When the dwarfs found Snow White, they were heartbroken. They placed her in a crystal coffin and watched over her with heavy hearts. News of Snow White's fate spread throughout the kingdom, and the story reached a brave prince who had heard of her beauty and kindness. Determined to save her, the prince journeyed to the forest and, guided by the dwarfs, reached the crystal coffin. He was captivated by Snow White's beauty and kissed her gently. The magic of true love's kiss broke the spell, and Snow White awoke, her eyes sparkling with joy. The prince and Snow White returned to the kingdom, where the queen's wicked plans were exposed. The queen was banished from the land, and peace was restored. Snow White and the prince were married in a grand ceremony, and the kingdom celebrated their union with a magnificent festival. The 7 dwarfs were honored as heroes, and they continued to live happily in their enchanted cottage. Snow White and the prince ruled with kindness and wisdom, their reign bringing prosperity to the land. The kingdom thrived, and Snow White's story became a beloved legend, reminding everyone that true love, kindness, and courage could overcome even the darkest of evils. And so, Snow White, the prince, and their friends lived happily ever after, their lives filled with joy, harmony, and magical adventures.